Alrighty everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we don't have exact patch notes from the upcoming hotfix. There is a beta 44.3 hotfix coming on March 28th at 7 a.m. That's Thursday at 7 a.m. For those of us in North America, that will be hitting Wednesday night, the 27th. There are no specific notes about what this patch is going to include. It just says hero balances and bug fixes. So with that in mind, I thought it would be interesting to go over all of the updates and all of the patches that are being tested on the server, the test server, and just kind of go over what could potentially be coming, what will be coming in the future, and the 45 beta 45, which is a full release. You know, the 44.3, these are hot fixes, that sort of thing. Beta 45 should have some big changes in it, and that is just around the corner. We're actually about a month away from getting beta 45, and there are some big changes coming to some of our best items, support items, things like that. So we're going to go over those towards the end of this video. So let's get started with Fennec. He just got reworked, and they are testing removing his S1 speed increase. So the increased attack range and skill range and attack speed is looking at being removed, and instead they are going to increase or decrease the attack delay between his execution of the skill 1 and the normal attacks that build those stacks. So they're just speeding that up a little bit, meaning that it's technically 25% faster. And they are changing his skill 1 cooldown to a standard 8 seconds. If you look at the next screen, you can see that his skill 1 had a variation of attack speed change, and his the cooldown was a range from 10 to 8. So instead of doing all that, they are just setting it at a standard 8 seconds on his skill 1. Now, Brunhilde is being tested to, rather than just plant wherever she's at with her ultimate ability, she gets a small teleport. It's not very far of a teleport. Like I saw a video, if you're in the middle of the river, you can hop over a wall, but that's about it. If you're in a bush, you can hop over to the other bush and start attacking. But that's a change that will kind of give her some positioning abilities when she uses her ultimate ability. They're testing some buffs for Caphany on her skill 1. They're testing nerfs for Kayn, skill 1 and skill 2. They think he might still be a little too strong, so they're testing some nerfs there. They're testing nerfs for Liliana. Ming is, this is interesting, because skill 1 is where he attaches and skill 2 is where he switches between the attack and the defense skills. It's what changes his skill 1 of whatever it is. And so evidently when you level up skill 2, it increases the attack stats and the armor stats. So they're going to change it to leveling up skill 1 increases the attack stats, and leveling up skill 2 increases armor. So if you want him to be balanced, you'll have to start, if they go through with this test, you'll have to start up increasing those skills equally. Or you can increase skill 1 and focus on attack, or increase skill 2 and focus on the defensive stats. Yan is having a nerf of his skill 2 tested, and this is interesting due to something that's coming in the beta 45 notes at the end of the match. It's something, note in one of the comments that someone mentioned, and I think this is pretty interesting. So keep this in mind, Yan skill 2 nerf being tested. Now here in the 3.17 patch notes for the test server, they're testing a change to the anti-intrusion debuff. Apparently the first 4 minutes and 10% damage dealt to all targets was not enough to prevent the invasion that they were talking about. So this is pretty interesting. Now for the first 4 minutes, you'll have a 25% damage debuff. And then up to 10 minutes, from 4 to 10 minutes, you'll have a 10% reduction. So there'll be a full 10 minutes of the anti-intrusion debuff trying to protect people's jungles. So that's something pretty interesting that they are testing right now. They're testing a full rework of Diaochan, and I know I say that in the North American vernacular. I think someone said it's Diaochan technically, but I'm going to continue to say Diaochan because that's how I've said it for the last 5 years, and old dogs, new tricks sort of thing. So we're going to just roll with what we've got, but she's getting a full rework. I'm not going to go over it particularly in much detail. You can pause and read through some of the changes. Her passive is getting a bunch of new abilities. Her skill 1 looks like it's going to start revealing enemies as well. Skill 2, they're removing the stacking, so she won't have 2 in reserve. So that's going to be interesting play for her. And skill 3 can be cast in an area and she can walk away. So that's kind of one of the major things. It's not going to be a area of effect around her. She can cast it in an area. So those are all interesting changes for Diaochan. And this was a little note that the AOV Update English had. I thought I'd keep it here. Debuff effects include HP regen reduction, armor reduction, damage dealt reduction, or attack speed reduction. It cannot be dispelled by dissolving, control immunity, untargetable, or any of those other effects. And it can't be reduced by resistance items. The only way to get rid of the debuff is with Purify, but Purify only lasts for 1 second or 2 seconds or something like that. So the debuff effects can get re-added after you Purify. So most of the time we pretty much think of Purify for movement abilities, trying to get away or get out of being imprisoned, that sort of thing. But Purify can actually purify the debuff effects as well. Now, this is for beta 45. I don't believe this will come before beta 45 at the end of April or the beginning of May. I'm not really sure when they'll release it. But this is something that we hinted to, and they have expanded. So they're actually reworking the entire support system. They're getting rid of water, and they're changing the fire and earth type. So it's instead of HP for earth, AP for water, and AD for fire, they're getting rid of water and reworking earth and fire. We'll get over what eradicate and Genesis types means in a minute. But the passive is similar to what we talked about. It's going to start at 25% and increase 5% for every 3 minutes. But there is no effect. Right now, your support item, you don't get golden XP, extra golden XP past the 10-minute mark. But this will continue indefinitely. And then they're reworking the passive for the timing of if you're the 4th or the 5th lowest in your team, it's changed to 4, 8, 12, and 16 minutes is when that increases. Now, this is really interesting and kind of hard to follow, so we'll try to go over it. So water's no more, and earth and fire are here. What they're going to do is they have taken off the cooldown reduction for level 2 and 3 items. They've gotten rid of it. Doesn't increase to 10% to 5 and 10% cooldown reduction. And then level 2, every color, regardless of whether it's earth or fire, gets 600 HP and 5% movement speed at level 2, 1200 max HP and 5% movement speed at level 3. Now they're adjusting the passive for how the elemental harvest works. Right now, the harvest gets it gets more crystals, and every crystal you get an HP boost. This is not that anymore. It is a attack force boost. Whether it's AD or AP, you can see right here, as it gains those levels, you get attack damage or ability power boosts, determined based on the main attribute of each hero. Now, the new passives for both of these, if you go with the earth type, you'll get the Genesis passive, which will increase your armor. If you go with the fire type, you'll get the speed passive, which gives you cooldown reduction and attack speed. This says movement speed, but after some research, it is actually attack speed. So the colors that you pick doesn't matter as far as, whether you're a mage or a tank or whatever else it is. It only matters for armor or cooldown reduction and attack speed. And then, so barrier, magic eye, and cleansing are staying. As we saw, the two of the items are being removed. Eradicate and Genesis are being removed as items, and they're adding charge and starburst. So you can see we're not going to get into the weeds too much on what each one of these does. You can pause and read through it. But magic eye is interesting because it's pretty useless right now. But now it's going to deal damage when it reveals someone, and it slows. And then the cleansing, they're removing the HP part of the cleansing ability. So no more small heal. You'll just get the cleansing from that. So you'll have to pick a little more closely what you need. Now the charge ability increases movement speed of yourself and teammates, and whenever you pass a teammate that's unboosted, they'll also be kind of pulled along with you, so it'd probably be a pretty good escape tool. And Stardust, you can link an ally. This kind of sounds like Ming's ability. You can link an ally and you'll have these effects. So that's an interesting change to the support items, and it's yet to be determined if these are the final changes or the final ways that those support items will be. But it's definitely going to change the way we use support items. Next thing in beta 45 is I just had to bring this whole thing to you as it was listed on AOV at Beta English. And I kept the header in here just to give them credit, because that's pretty much where I get a lot of my information, is from that Facebook page. But this is really interesting because it seems like with update beta 45, they are going to be locking in heroes into a type. And it doesn't seem like if you wanted to play Violet in the Slayer lane, that's going to be an option. You have to pick a type from their predetermined list. Apparently this is the way it works in Honor of Kings right now, and they're bringing that to Arena of Valor with the beta 45. There are 3 different scenarios: favorite lanes, Challenge of Valor, which I'm not even sure that works in Arena of Valor right now, and lane ranked stars. So those things you can read about. I don't really know what half of that means, so I just wanted to bring this to you to kind of be prepared. If beta 45 does bring this, here is the list as it sits right now of heroes that you can play and where you can play them. And now you remember I mentioned Yan getting that skill 2 damage reduction. Someone mentioned that's why they continue to nerf Yan, because they're wanting him to stay in the jungle. They're not wanting him to be a Slayer lane hero. So if that's true, this seems to be bringing that to the fore as well. So there's your list of junglers, Dragon Lane, support and roaming characters, the mages in the mid, and then of course the Slayer lane heroes. Interesting to say the least. And something that I kind of looks like I forgot to add, they are testing a new hero. You can see the blonde person next to Vera is down there in the bottom left, or the bottom right, excuse me. That is a new hero, Charlotte, that is being tested right now. And in the future, this is the list of heroes that is on the chopping block and what they're on the chopping block for. Probably see these as the summer progresses. See these nerfs and buffs and a rework for Marja. And then the final thing was just released today. This, I don't have a clue what any of this says. I apologize. But the question mark right here, they mentioned this turtle bug from the 2017 season. I wasn't playing in 2017, but there's some speculation about what might be coming with a future map. Will this be returning? Let's have some comments. Maybe you can tell me what that bug was, what it did, and whether you think it'd be a good item to return back to the game. So that is it. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me and doing a quick review of the things that are going on in the test server and potentially coming to the main game with future updates. We are expecting an update on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, so keep your eyes open for that. And as soon as I know the exact list of what's changing, I'll be posting a video and we can go over those together as well. So again, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you all on the battlefield.